Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
The biggest sale of the year is happening right now during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda. For a limited time, make no payments for 90 days on every new Honda. That's right, you choose and make no payments for 90 days at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hello and welcome as we start the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours and your little slice of South Louisiana heaven since the last opportunity we had to spend some time with you and yours on Tuesday of this week. We start today's show with Louisiana news and how, unfortunately, many times problems plaguing the United States of America are worse in Louisiana than just about any place else. It is a sad fact of life that, even sadder still, many of us have become accustomed to. It is almost impossible, unless you are willfully/blissfully ignorant, to not be aware of the fentanyl problem in our country. The number of people overdosing, dying from consuming fentanyl primarily with other illegal drugs is staggering. This week, the coroner for East Baton Rouge Parish, Dr. Bo Clark, came out with some numbers that are absolutely shocking. In 2022, the EBR Coroner's Office investigated nearly 300 overdoses. You realize, do you not, that's almost one a day for an entire year? In 2021, according to Coroner Bo Clark, 88% of the overdoses were linked to fentanyl. This is a problem that states like ours have been dealing with for a while. And of course, if you've been keeping an eye on this to whatever degree, you know that this is a consequence of our open border situation promulgated by the Biden-Harris administration. This stuff is coming through in record numbers. And sadly, record numbers of people are dying. And of course, Louisiana, we are affected more so than other parts of the country. Yet another reason we should be demanding that the Biden-Harris administration do something about our porous southern border. Meanwhile, speaking of problems that plague Louisiana, fentanyl and people running from the police. Leave it to my city, to Baton Rouge, to combine the both of them in one story. This week, known drug dealer takes off running from the police, high-speed chase with a child in the car with him, crashes the car, attempts to jump out and flee, ends up getting run over by his vehicle, and subsequently arrested. Found in the car a couple of pounds of marijuana, pound of methamphetamines, and of course, since he's a known drug dealer, they then execute a search warrant at his home, where they find, wait for it, a pound of fentanyl, 7.6 ounces more of marijuana, 210 Suboxone strips, 16 dosage usage units of Lyrica, right at $150,000 in cash, 5 guns, one of which has been confirmed stolen. In addition, charges of possession of intent to distribute fentanyl, possession of a firearm by a felon, possession of a firearm with drugs, possession of a stolen firearm, possession of drugs in the presence of a juvenile, etc., etc., etc. By the way, did I mention this same guy has been arrested on narcotics charges 3 times since 2019. Let me tie this all together for you. Fentanyl, high-speed chases, etc., etc. Obviously, because of the horrific nature of the fatal consequences of some recent high-speed chases, lawmakers are trying to come to grips with how they can end these chases. So one Baton Rouge lawmaker, taking aim at this problem, for me, epitomizes the problem. State Representative Edmund Jordan, coming out this week saying he wants to spearhead efforts to bring conformity to high-speed chases. I can agree with him in the regard that from parish to parish, jurisdiction to jurisdiction, there should be some continuity so everyone's on the same page. But reading an interview with him on this subject was a bit disturbing. He says the following: there's really no accountability if you violate the policies regarding police chases. He goes on to say, hopefully, we could eliminate chases altogether, but I think that's much more of a stretch. We certainly want to be able to reduce them greatly and have folks, officers, think about what they're doing and the lives that they're putting in danger when they initiate these chases. So if we make them think about that and be cognizant of whatever the results and the consequences would be, I think that's the main thing for us. I got a major problem, y'all, with this way of thinking. Instead of handcuffing law enforcement, how about you propose a law that if you knowingly run from law enforcement and, I don't know, exceed 40 miles an hour above the posted speed limit, it's an automatic 10-year in prison sentence. That'll fix the problem. Now listen, I get it. I understand we will always have the knuckleheads among us. There will be some that even if they know it's a life sentence, they think they're smarter, faster, more intelligent than everybody else, so they're going to run no matter what. But the fact of the matter is, law enforcement only initiates a chase when a law has been broken. That's just common sense. And the fact of the matter is, why do you think they are so willing these days to engage in high-speed chases from police. Don't handcuff law enforcement. Make the penalties stiff enough for if you do this kind of crap, you're going to be behind bars for quite some time. Oh, and by the way, for Mr. 1 pound of fentanyl with a child in the car engaging in a high-speed chase, how about a guy that's been arrested 3 times since 2019 for narcotics charges? How about you lock his butt up after the first time and we won't have to deal with him again? It's just, I know, I get it. Marty tells me all the time, you and that damn common sense of yours. When are you going to realize common sense is not common anymore? But instead of handcuffing those who have sworn to protect and serve, why don't we make it a point to crack down on those who violate? Law enforcement is only doing what they've sworn an oath to do. And when you decide that you are going to thumb your nose at society, you are going to disregard all the rules of the road and lead people on a high-speed chase, that should fall on you. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. Now, again, I do agree that there needs to be some continuity from parish to parish, county to county, state to state, what have you. But at the end of the day, the road belongs to all of us. All who use it pay taxes to do so. And all are expected to abide by certain established rules and regulations. But because some choose not to abide by, we're going to handcuff law enforcement. And you know, it would be a different thing if the criminals would say, okay, well, now that we have, uniformity, we're just not going to break the law anymore. Write me back and let me know how that works out for you. Common sense. Obviously, just not that common anymore. We're heading up on the first break of today's show. When we come back, I'm going to entitle this next segment, Read Between the Lines. You don't have to be the brightest bulb in the chandelier. Just have a little bit of, here I go again, common sense, and read between the lines. That's next when we continue the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way,
Welcome back. Okay, surprise is a wonderful thing, if you're not surprised by it. Welcome back to the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, I have learned, with God blessing me to be around for a little while in life, that it behooves us to be able to read between the lines. If you stick around long enough, you will notice how the media, the politicians, and society at large will use certain things to push certain agendas, and in many cases, they will use these things to hide or shade the truth from you. How many times have you seen something happen, only affects one person, maybe two people, and all of a sudden there's this big old rush to protect everybody from what happened to this one person? Well, it's happened again. We've been trying to keep you abreast of all the folks all over the place, but particularly here in America, that have been mysteriously just dropping dead. Young, totally healthy, no sign of any health problems whatsoever, and next thing you know, they're dead. As a matter of fact, there is a new documentary out entitled Died Suddenly, talking about the inordinate number of young, healthy people that just drop dead. This week, 25-year-old former outside linebacker for the Detroit Lions, Jesse Lemonier, just dead, gone. And of course, that name is added to a list of people that's getting longer and longer and longer, day by day, week by week, month by month. You've got to wonder how and why the mainstream media is not reporting on this. In some places around the planet, the number of people above and beyond the normal mortality rate is up 3,000%. So you would have to ask, all these years in our existence, we've known pretty much what percentage of people are going to die of a heart attack, stroke, cancer, automobile accidents, what have you. Number always stays pretty much the same, give or take a fluctuation here or there. Now, all of a sudden, in the last 2 years, folks are dropping in numbers we have never seen in the history of the human species. So enter this week, right here in Baton Rouge, as is the case, by the way, all across the country, it was announced that there is a new partnership and effort underway to put defibrillators all over the place. So in case you happen to suffer a heart attack, there will be a defibrillator someplace close by. Now, all of this stems from a cardiac event from one person. Just so happened that it happened to be broadcast on Monday Night Football. It was there for all the world to see. So now, speaking of read between the lines, now that one person suffered a cardiac event on Monday Night Football, all the way down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, there's this big push to put defibrillators everywhere. You know, if I could read between the lines, I would have to ask, why now and why here? Now, you know where I'm going with this, don't you? Uh-huh. Y'all know I love you, which is why I tell you the truth. I love you too much to lie to you. If you took that COVID-19 shot, if you let them folks scare you into putting this experimental crap in your body, you better go see your doctor. You better go get your heart checked. They are telling you, if you read between the lines, people are dropping with myocarditis, inflammation of the heart, all kinds of respiratory problems, left, right, center, ahead, and behind, everywhere. And if you took that shot, you need to call your cardiologist. Go get checked out. Better to know ahead of time than after the fact. It should scare the bejesus out of you that all of a sudden now, after one person suffers a cardiac event, the whole country now is, we got to be aware of this, we got to have mechanisms in place. People have been dying from heart attacks for, I don't know, ever since man has been on the planet. But now all of a sudden, we need to have these defibrillators everywhere. If you're like me and you read between the lines, this is not about one person, y'all. This ain't about Monday Night Football. This is about the fact that people are dropping dead everywhere, all over the place. Totally healthy individuals, just gone. But they use this as a way to CYA, cover their own, you know what the rest of that is. So if you got the shot, I cannot stress enough, y'all, go get your heart checked. Do a little research, if you will, because the mainstream media is going to hide this from you. They've been doing it the whole time. Do a little digging, and for God's sake, don't use Google, because they're hiding it from you too. Look at the number of morticians all around the country that have been inundated with bodies to prepare for burial that they cannot embalm. Why? Because of blood clots. 3, 4, 5 foot long blood clots. Now, again, read between the lines. All of this happened in the last 2 years. Again, mortality rate, we always knew what it was. We could estimate, give or take, a little bit here or there, how many people gonna die from a heart attack. Now, all of a sudden, in the last 2 years, the numbers have gone through the roof. So ask yourself this: as long as mankind has been on this planet, and the numbers have always been what the numbers are, what happened differently in the last 2 years when all of this increase started? What happened differently? Mr. Bugs, you say read between the lines. So, the shot, ding, 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 got a winner. Chicken dinner. Thank you, Marty. Got a winner. The only thing different in the last 2 years has been roll up that sleeve and psst. Oh, wait, you want the booster? Okay, get in this line over here. And yet, The medical community just has no idea, no clue why all of a sudden all of these people are just dying, falling over dead. Go to sleep, don't wake up. Read between the lines, people. Read between the freaking lines. And more important, if you are one of those that let CNN LOL, MSLSD, NBC, ABC, and C, the BS, talk you into getting that shot, protect yourself, y'all. Go get checked out. Y'all know I'm a big believer in old adages, and the one that immediately comes to mind, among others, the ounce of prevention is worth what? More than the pound of cure. If you don't get checked out and you took that shot and or the boosters, well, there's another adage. P.T. Barnum, there's a sucker born every minute. Go get checked out, y'all. Your family wants you around. I want you around. Bottom of the hour break. When we come back, sometimes you just have to wonder, what are people thinking? And this one comes from right here in Baton Rouge. That's next when we continue the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
You could be driving a
Now's the time to save on new Accords during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana. Get our lowest prices and biggest savings on our largest selection of Accords this year. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana, I-49 just south of Opelousas.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Caught spiders?
Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, perception is a heck of a thing, particularly in today's modern society where everybody is offended by everything, even though you would think as Americans we would know by now and have learned long ago that everything is not for everybody. And I use this example all the time, if the old blue-haired white women's knitting club wants to get together and have a big soiree, have at it. That ain't for me. Everything is not for everybody. But I also understand how people perceive certain things. I taught my daughter early in life that if you don't put yourself in certain situations, you will never have to worry about regretting it because you thought about it beforehand. You didn't present yourself, or whatever the situation is, in a certain way, and as a result, you don't ever have to worry about apologizing for it, regretting it, whatever. So this week, when I heard about this upcoming event, I had to ask myself, what in the world were these people thinking? It involves an organization that many of us have known about, a whole ton of us have supported ever since we've known about it, because we believe in their mission. There has, and I'm sure this is going to have to change at some point, there was one that catered primarily to men, the other, sister organization, catered primarily to women. The YMCA, Marty's over there doing the YMCA, the Young Men's Christian Association, and of course there's the YWCA, Young Women's. Y'all going to end up having to change that because, as we all know now, men can be women and women can be men. And you can't take anybody else, Muslims, Hindus, whatever, they need to be able to do the Y whatever CA. Well, can't do CA anymore because that's Christian and that's going to offend somebody. But I digress. Here in Baton Rouge, there is an annual event hosted by the YWCA of Greater Baton Rouge, where they get together for a brunch to empower women. In this case, it's entitled Empowering the W. Whatever. Honoring 10 women, and of course, being a brunch, you have a featured speaker. I mean, you know, it's how these things work. You come in, you sit down, eat your salad, drink your tea, then before the speaker comes up, you have the meal, and if you hadn't finished, not a problem, you keep eating, they fill the time. So this year, for the Empowering the W brunch, they invite as the guest speaker none other than Hanoi Jane Fonda. What were they thinking? Now, for you young people, they're out there scratching your head, saying, well, who is Jane Fonda? And why would they not invite her? Well, I'm glad you asked the question. Once considered the most hated woman in America, particularly among veterans and the military, Jane Fonda allowed herself to be used by the communist government of North Vietnam in the height of the Vietnam War. She, according to her, didn't realize what they were doing at the time when she agreed to be photographed sitting atop anti-aircraft batteries erected by the North Vietnamese to shoot down American warplanes. She, according to her, didn't know that when the North Vietnamese troops asked her to sing us a song, and she, of course, chose a happy song, and they snapped pictures while she was smiling and skinning and grinning with enemy troops. This is who you invite to be the keynote speaker? Of all the people, women, you could have chosen her? Really? Why not just insult every Vietnam veteran who lives here while you're at it? There are so many choices they could have made. Jane freaking Fonda? Really? But you know, something occurred to me as I was reading this story and trying to digest what in God's name are the people at the YWCA thinking by inviting her. It occurred to me, as much as I disagree with her politics, the same woman, Jane Fonda, by the way, who 2 weeks ago, in an interview, said that, well, the reason we have climate change is because of racism. That's a whole different show for a different day. But it occurred to me, this is the difference between us and them. This is the difference between liberals and conservatives. As much as I despise this woman, as much as I despise everything she stands for, I'm not calling for a boycott of her. I'm not calling for a boycott of the YWCA and their Empowering the W event. She is an American. She's got a right to be a moron. That's what this country is based on. At the end of the day, she's got a right to her opinion, a right to express it, and the YWCA has the right to invite her. Even though you run the risk of completely alienating a good part of your base and those that contribute to you and support you in your endeavors. But when all is said and done, if she were a diehard conservative, I think we all know what the reception would be like, don't we? See, that's the difference, again, between conservatives and liberals. Conservatives say, well, I don't agree with it. I am adamantly opposed to it. But it's your right as an American. So I have to grant you that. On the other side of that coin, oh, hell no. I don't agree with what you say. I'm a liberal. You need to be canceled. Maybe you will think about this. The next time you get ready to walk in that most sacred of places, close the curtain, and punch the buttons to vote. That's the difference. Politics truly does make for strange bedfellows. Who would have ever thought that something as glaring as the difference between liberals and conservatives would be pointed out by a brunch at the YWCA? I hope, because they do some good work, I hope that the repercussions for the YWCA in my city don't end up hurting them in the pocket. But for future reference, I would say it was on the way up and on the way out. I would say maybe in the future they'll do a little research on who they decide to invite to speak and represent on behalf of their organization. But how could you not know this about Jane Fonda? I guess maybe they saw Hollywood Icon, and that was good enough for them. They just took it and ran. But how could you miss the part about Hollywood Icon / at one time the most hated woman in America? Of all the women you could have invited, this was your choice? Huh. It's your organization. Hopefully the next time you'll realize, however, it's the public that supports you. Final break of today's show. When we come back, I told Marty if I had to pull out a saying for this segment, it would be, white man speak with forked tongue. That's next, when we come back to wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back for the final segment of the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. In speaking with floor director extraordinaire Mighty, told him earlier that my final segment, if I were to channel my inner Western movie fan, would be entitled White Man Speak with Forked Tongue. You know, I've learned, and I'm sure you probably have as well, if you've managed to live long enough and pay attention to the impactful things that happen in our society. Particularly among liberals, you take whatever it is they tell you today, and you automatically figure, okay, this time next week, next month, next year, it will be the exact opposite. Things like, well, our border's secure, there's no problem. Of course, we all know what the reality about that is, right? They're mostly peaceful protests. Well, what is that big old blazing fire in the background of the live shot on TV? What is that all about? Exact opposite. There's no supply chain crisis. How many empty stores in the neighborhood where you shop? Joe Biden. Well, there's no there, or Karine Jean-Pierre. The search for documents has been completed. 180 degrees opposite from what they told you. So remember last year, and this falls under White Man Speaks with Forked Tongue / I better hold that because I'll get in trouble. I'll get in trouble. This time a year ago, remember President Joe Biden saying that if we send tanks to Ukraine, that would be the equivalent of World War III. Remember that? We send planes, helicopters, tanks, offensive weapons. I don't care what you call it, that's going to be World War III. So again, 180 degrees from what they tell you. This week, Mr. That would be World War III, I don't care what you call it, announces we're sending 31 Abrams M1A1 battle tanks to where? Ukraine. White man speak with forked tongue. I think I can clean it up. Here we go. 180 degree opposite / how out of touch can you be? So in announcing this week that we are now going to send 31 Abrams M1A1 battle tanks to Ukraine, a new poll was published day before yesterday. Now I know what you're saying. I already know what you're saying. Clarence, you taught us early on that if you know how to ask the question, you can make a poll say pretty much whatever you want it to say. Well, this one was conducted by Hart Research Associates and published by NBC News. one of the most liberal mouthpieces out there. And they asked our fellow Americans, what do you think about the amount of money that we are sending to Ukraine? Should we send more or should we send less? For all intents and purposes, a statistical tie. 49% said we should give them more. 47% said we should not. Do y'all realize, with all the problems we have in this country right now, Congress, in just a year, has committed more than $113 billion, with a B, as in bugs, of your dollars to Ukraine. You know, I guess relativity could explain this. When you look at the liberals, you look at the left, you look at Democrats, running up $31+ trillion in debt. So I guess, if everything being relative, we sent $113 billion of your dollars some 5,000 miles away. That's not that bad. I mean, considering with $31 trillion plus dollars in debt, what the heck is $113 billion here or there? Well, I ask you this. What could your community do with that share of $113 billion? We started today's show talking about the fact that the coroner for East Baton Rouge Parish reported last year we had nearly one fentanyl overdose death a day. How much more of a border wall could we construct to keep fentanyl out of our communities with that $113 billion? How many more law enforcement officers in God knows how many deadly cities all across America could $113 billion go to employ? All you have to do is think about blue states and Democrat-run cities. Portland, Seattle, Oakland, L.A., San Francisco, Kansas City, St. Louis, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Birmingham, Newark, Milwaukee, and the list just goes on and on and on and on. How many of those cities could use that share of $113 billion so far that we have committed to Ukraine? Speaking of reading between the lines, white man speak with forked tongue. He told you last year, no, we ain't sending no offensive weapons. We are not sending tanks to Ukraine. I don't care what you would call it. That would be World War III. So if a year later, he's sending 31 Abrams battle tanks / offensive weapons, this time next year, guess what else we will probably be sending them? Just a question. Based on the fact that just about everything he's told us since taking office has been 180 degrees opposite from the truth. Read between the freaking lines, y'all. And 81 million of y'all got conned into voting for this clown. I would ask, but I don't need to because I already know the answer. How's that working out for you? Of course, now, if it were only you that were affected, that would be one thing. I'm not a vindictive person, and yes, I do speak English. I'm not a vindictive person. I'm not one of those that says, well, you get what you deserve. You were stupid enough to be conned into it, not deal with the consequences. Problem is, it's not just you. It's an entire freaking country. And if you are halfway realistic about what is happening and the consequences of your voting decisions, you would ask yourself, in my lifetime, have I ever seen anything remotely close to how far my country has gone down in just 2 freaking years? Maybe now you start to see the importance of making an informed decision when you vote. Not a decision based on what CNN LOL told you. Not a decision based on what the BS told you. But based on your own research, on talking with real people, not these clowns on TV and the politicians in Washington that have absolutely nothing in common with you or I. Maybe now, after 2 very short years, you start to realize the importance of being an informed voter. If not, go ahead and stick a fork in us, y'all. We're done. Speaking of done, my time's up and I gotta go. But you and guys and girls, y'all already know the drill. This day, more so than any other in history. You know what? I give it to you. America, we are not perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is, and God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you do realize that he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Either way, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. God bless.